All right, we're back. Coach Patsos in studio for a few minutes here as we preview Charleston on Friday.
And Florida Gulf Coast at home. We need the fans that, hey, Dunk City, they went to the NCAA last year. That's a good game on Monday night.
It's all about matchups. How do you match up Friday night?
Well, they have four seniors. Well, they have three seniors and a junior, but they have two all-league players. But it's good. I told Nico, you're covering their best player. So we'll see how that matchup works. Their point guard's good, then he sides to the two. They got a four-man who's a first-team all-league player. But Prince Aduro, even though you're a freshman, here you go. You wanted to see how good you are. And our players are good. We had a couple great practices. The good news about this team is they watched video, and I said, is that okay? They said, no. What should we do there? They get a lot of the right answers. We're just... Some things I took for granted last year, I gotta be a lot more patient on. I have to be patient. And then who's gonna sing? It's funny, we're talking about the Knicks. Like, Doug McDermott is a good player. Now all of a sudden, like, he's young. Yeah. And he's coming off the bench, and now he's gonna establish himself. And Jared Jack. No one talked about Doug McDermott and Jared Jack. I read the papers, so do you. I mean, I was reading about the Yankees, and no, I don't know who the manager is.
I was gonna say, do you have any insight?
He's not telling me anything. We were talking almost daily through the playoffs, texting. He's really good friends of mine.
Now shut off.
Shut off, and I don't bother him. He just said, go Saints. He said, good luck against Charleston, go Saints.
And if you don't know, Coach Patsos is good friends with Brian Cashman, and who's got
he's doing but I'll tell you what, he's not in any rush because they want a guy that understands a veteran team, but a young team with more young guys, and you have to spend a lot of time on their level. You have to learn some new catchphrases, and Joe Madden seems to do the best of keeping guys loose, but knowing how to be friends with them, but not too good of friends. And so back to the Knicks, whether it's Doug McDermott or, Jared Jack being inserted, all of a sudden they're a different team than everybody thought they were going to. And they're not going to win one game. We're not going to win one game, I hope. Who knows? Some people think we're not going to win a game because we're too young and not good enough. We'll see. But it's different guys, and that's why you play good exhibitions, and that's why you play a challenging schedule, and you try to figure it out. Like I bet you UCLA thought they were going to be fine. Well, now I don't know how they're going to be so fine because they got three guys. I took a team to China. We got off the plane. We took an all-star team from China. It was Michael Haddix was the Siena guy. Hammer was with us. I was the coach at Loyola. We got off the plane and the diplomat met us and said, you're going to have a great time in China. You're playing 7 games. They were building the nest. It was this whole big story. Rich Enzer was with us, the commissioner. And he said, we are a growing country. We like basketball. It's going to be good. However, any minor little thing that you think is okay in the United States is not okay here. Are you listening? I'm like, okay. Looks like we're not going to, steal the little cart when we have drinks tonight, are we, fellas? In case you guys think you're going to go out and, steal a little bike down the street. We're going to go over this real quickly. That guy wasn't kidding.
Yep.
And that was 10 years ago. Yeah. 12 years ago.
And you bring this up because LiAngelo Ball and 3 others were arrested in China. And
will they play? Will they get out? Will they get out?
Yeah, Alfred said they're not going to play.
Will
they get out of the country?
Right. I mean, three to 10 years in
Beverly
prison.
Hills. Some lawyer from Beverly Hills isn't going to show up over there and say, "Hey, I'd like my guys."
But LeVar says it's not a big deal.
Yeah, LeVar, it ain't a big deal.
Jimmy, you referenced
teams
this.
Change.
Yeah, right. Brian Cashman said the connectivity between his manager and players is really important. And you've talked about how it's important at the college level as well. You've been able to do this without Twitter, without Instagram, without Facebook, without Snapchat. How have you maintained that close relationship with your players?
Pete Durr, who's with me here. Pete, talk about the modern
the social
Pete Durr is my
network.
director. No, we do social networking. I just don't. I'm just talking about communicating with the direct players that you're coaching, because at the end of the day, I have to coach the team I have, make those players better, and then the recruits we have, which we're signing a recruit that I'm not allowed to talk about. I maintain contact with those guys, but the social media stuff, yes, my wife does it. But Pete, tell us about social media.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, social media is huge. Everyone's on their phones, probably. I mean, if they're not talking, no one talks anymore, but they're on their phone. So with us, yeah, I mean, we have Facebook, we have Twitter. Men's basketball team has that. Obviously, Michelle's has hers.
So as a young guy, if Jimmy isn't doing the social media stuff, which I'm not saying he has to do, what is the value? Because Jimmy does it at a
kind of doing
level.
It. Jimmy's saying, hey, take a picture. Make sure that gets on Twitter.
But I mean, what you guys do differently from what I've experienced anyway is every road trip you guys take as a team, there seems to be some other objective other than playing a basketball game. There is a life experience seems to be intertwined into every single road trip. So that may be offsetting the balance, right?
Yeah, and it gets out there. I still believe in personal relationships. Now, does Siena basketball off to Twitter and stuff? Yes. But on the other hand, I'm 51 years old and coach, this is my 29th year of coaching, and I'll adapt to certain things, but I don't think everybody needs to know what I'm having for dinner. Yeah. And I don't think the world needs to. So that's Twitter. Let's just get rid of that. Facebook, they know who my wife is and they know who the team is. So they get that. But the Twitter is like, do you need to hear my opinions? I'd rather come on radio. I'm old school, okay? I'd rather have you say, I don't like your idea, and let's talk about it. The one thing I don't like about Twitter is, here's what I think, but I'm not going to debate with you in person. Or, here's what I'm having for lunch. Isn't that great? Are we that egotistical?
Yeah.
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are.
I'm not, but just I try to keep things pretty much in balance and normal. And I don't know if Cashman Twitters a lot, and I don't know whether Drew Girardi Twitters a lot. I don't follow that. I just think they think that, look, he probably wanted a long-term deal. So that was the first thing. And then where do you go from there? If you're not going to give him a long-term deal, what can make this team win next year? I did see Teixeira's comments in the paper. This is not from Brian. I did not talk to Brian. But Teixeira was very much like, it's 162 games. Sometimes you want to be like, hey, Raj, what's up? Did you watch the NFL last night? And Girardi's like, did you take BP today? Your OBP, FBA, UMBC, block is 772. And the guy coming in. In other words, it's like not normal. It's not real. It's all stats in just...
And you must deal with your team in that same manner. It's a long year.
That's what Teixeira was saying. Sometimes I just want to be like, hey, man, I just dropped my kids at kindergarten and, like, it's Halloween. Like, what are you going to... In other words, what are you doing for the 4th of July? And the guy's going, is it the 4th of July? I just know we're in Cleveland and we have batting practice in a half hour.
Right. Girardi's a very serious guy, right?
No, he is.
He does not lighten up at all.
Right. And I'm not sure with a young team anymore anyways. That's why I use Joe Madden. I went to the Celtics practice. Brad Stevens is a very one-on-one. Goes to breakfast with the players.
This is Rogers' heart
Brad
is
Stevens.
pumping now. You bring up Brad Stevens.
I'm trying to learn from him.
I got a man crush on Stevens.
I'm trying to learn from him. So it's not just OBPs and percentages. It's how are you doing? And then, like, Haywood's like, I didn't want to come around the team. Then Brad came and got me and said, you're going to play next year. Guys come back from this. Paul George came back from injuries. But stick around. But come around this. But we need you. But they did that over breakfast. I read the article. In other words, you got to have a human touch with these people. Everything's not how many games did you win, how many tickets did you sell, and did you go to the MAC? Did you win the MAC every year? I get it. It's how's the team doing? But these guys are students and human beings, and they have families and other stuff going. And sometimes they just want to talk about fun. And it can be, I want to talk about the Yankees. They might want to talk about, hip hop or country. Western's big on our team. We have a couple guys. I don't know a lot about country. Pete does. I'm learning. You have to sit down and chat with them sometimes about other stuff because you want to know their mind. Back to Girardi, I don't know. I'm just going on what I read that he thinks and I'm using Madden as an example, and I'm using, Roberts was an ex-player, but the LA thing seemed to be pretty. I don't know the guy in Houston, but he seemed to. Is that what they wanted long term? Right. I don't think Joe was going to coach for 1 year. See, that's let's take Joe's side. I want to coach. Well, I want to coach for 1 or 2 years. Well, I want to coach I want a 4-year deal because if I'm going to do this, I got to have security. Otherwise, I'll go to the Phillies, the Nationals, TV. His kid's also a very good player, like a pro prospect. And they live in Florida. They live in Fort Lauderdale.
Wants to go watch him play.
Right. Probably hasn't watched him play. So I think there's two sides to every story. I think the world's changing a little bit. But on the other hand, to bring this all around, know your players, earn their respect. But if they hustle and try as hard as they can, I'll deal with some mistakes. What's going to win you games? It's not, you can't Twitter your way to a win. You can't Facebook your way to a win. I just don't believe that. And recruiting is a very weird science. We have a lot of guys that are freshmen now. We had 4 seniors last year that started for 4 years. You're not going to get certain people when they're there. Now we got to pick some areas of recruiting up. But on the other hand, Siena's a very unique place because of the type of player we have. I wish we could do different things. We just don't take junior college players. We don't have that. We don't have a grad program. So we're looking at 4-year players that come out of high school and go to their coaches. But if Twittering is the only way to survive, then I guess we're going to have to take a different approach.
Well, we're all in trouble. That's the only way to survive.
Yeah, and Pete does a good job of that, and Abe Wildeslasky does a great job, and we're on Facebook and everything, but like, I just don't think I have to personally Twitter everything that I do.
Right.
And I really would rather have us talk about defense over going to 76 Diner or something with the players. I think there's still ways to get through the players, but I do like texting with the players. Hey, are you watching this? I'll tell them about some old school rap, or are you watching this, or did you see this movie, or this is on TV, check it out. What do you think about practice? We practiced at night this week. We haven't been practicing at night. Practicing in the daytime at like noon because it's academic schedules. That's fine. They said we should try practicing at night because we play at night. So we practiced at night. We had a great practice.
All right, one more before I let you go. Florida Gulf Coast, if you're going to that game on Monday, what kind of matchup is that like?
Well, they're very good. I'm not really on to that next one, but they have really good guards, and they have a really good 6'8" guy they have a lot of transfers. They have like a UNLV transfer and an Oklahoma transfer, and they have a kid, the Rogers kid we recruited. He ended up going down to Florida Gulf Coast, who's like a 5'5" mighty. He's like really tough, Muggsy Bogues. Comes off the bench. I'll know more, but Joe Dooley's going to run the Kansas stuff. They're very good. They went to the NCAA last year, and they're picked in the league again, and they have 2 all-league players. And
good game to go to Monday night for fans.
I'd go Monday, and the Times Union Center looks better than ever. Go down there and check it out. And if you need to get on the website, you can, and you can follow us on Facebook and Twitter through Siena.
Coach, good luck on Friday, and thanks for coming in. We appreciate it very much.
Hey,
you're welcome here anytime.
Enjoy my time here, Roger.
Thank you,
Coach.
Job.
And no, Eli Manning should keep playing, or really quick, should he get traded to a playoff team?
I would trade him. If I'm the Giants, I would trade him this offseason for a pick. I really would.
Not going to happen.
I really would.
John Mara will not trade him. There's no way.
All right.
One thing is another team that's worth watching in New York right now. This Knicks team, they do it again. They're down double digits in the fourth quarter.
Porzingis passes for the win. Last night gets the win on the score.
And
Ntilikina's
a true point guard. He sees the floor. He hits the open man.
He's
doesn't
athletic.
have to gun it up all the time. Get the ball to the open player. Somebody open, get him the stinking ball. That's what he does. I like that.
Because Jared Jack is helping them learn this is what wins games. No matter what your brother thinks.
I'm a Knicks fan.